Hello everyone, so in this tutorial we'll be looking at rigging your character and so that we can put the character on a pose and so that we could create the turntable and also create the hero poster for your brief 2 submission. So that's basically that, and this is roughly the outcome that we'll come up with. So we can rig it where you see this is the spine over here, and so this is the shoulder and this is the elbow and these are the rig around the hands, and so here are the rig around the knee and so on. So let's say for this, so this is the neck. It's a bit hard to see now, but I will show you later in more detail. And if we were to select this neck over here, press E, and we can actually turn this. Let me just turn this up. We can turn this around. We can turn the head around, and okay, that looks weird, but yep, there we go. So along those lines, and we can also move a bit of the mouth as well. So we'll be learning how to set that up. And so these are the knees. You can do this, and then we can reposition this and so on. So you can pose it just right to be able to tell your story. So that's that. And so let's come and have a look at Blackboard, and you can come over here to download the rigging folder that you can try on the character that we've done in class. And so you can also download this plugin. It's sort of a plugin or a preset over here, and so that we can put this into the Maya so that you can open up the rigging tools. So when you open up the zip, you should be able to find two folders that you can put inside. So under this prefs folder and scripts folder, let's find it over here. So you should be able to find prefs and scripts. So prefs, the icon folder, you can just copy this onto, you go to your documents, Maya 2016, and you see prefs, you can copy this files inside. Likewise for script, the same place, 2016, and scripts, copy this inside, and you should be able to load it later on, as we will try that as well. Just a side note, if you're using the school uni lab computer, when you first log into the computer, a Maya folder, this in the document would not appear. You would need to actually start Maya and then close Maya, then it would go back to documents, then you should be able to find this and you can place whatever you extract from the zip file over there. So that's just a quick side note. So let's quickly open up the character file. So let me just open up mine as well. So alright, great. So with this character, the first thing we're going to do right now, we're just going to quickly put our character into layers. So I've done that, and if you want to, you can separate them out into the character and pedestal, but if not, I think should be fine to just put them as one layer as well, so that we can lock it, so that we can work on the rig without any issues. So that's the first thing. You just quickly do this in your display render layer. And so now to bring up the rigging tools, let's come back to your Blackboard and just copy this little line over here, this text. And under meld script, which is over here at the bottom, you click over here and just paste whatever you've copied and hit enter, and this would bring up the rig. And we can just quickly name this, your character rig, and let's quickly just create a skeleton. So this will bring up these two windows, and it's important to just keep these windows over here, because if we were to close it, it might be a bit difficult to get back the window. I mean, we can, but the settings might be off and so on. And for the finger numbers, the first thing is to check your character to see how many fingers it has. So for me, it's only 3. So I'm just going to put 3 over here. And for the rest, this one will be 4, and the rest would be 0, 0, 0, 0. And so that's that. And the next step would be to make proxy skeleton. Alright, so you should be able to see this, which is this skeleton over here. We select just make proxy selection. And so this is super huge right now, and we just need to scale this down. And to scale this down, we need to select this bottom crossed over here. As you see, it's actually a cross. So we just quickly select this and just hit scale and just sort of scale it down. And you can try, but you realize that if you were to just select overall and just try to scale down the skeleton, it would give you a pretty wonky look on the skeleton. So once just roughly the right size, then we can quickly just put this accordingly. So just quickly just make sure this is locked, and then I'll just make this into wireframe mode. And okay, so if you look at these balls over here, these joints, these are the first couple of things that we want to look at. So let's try this one over here. As you can see, it's a parent system where if I drag this down, everything would follow down and so on, and it's mirrored as well from the left to right. So this one, it's meant to be around the legs, so we just put this roughly around the legs. Make sure to check the sides as well. And so the next one is to select this ball over here to bring this down. So this is roughly the middle, the waist-ish. And this one, you can just drag this up, and this one should be good, just roughly around here as well. And for this, let's quickly just drag this up, something like this. So it's the legs and so on, so it's controlling that. So this one we can just move it up, and this one by selecting the ball, it basically controls everything upwards in that sense. So everything is parented to this on the top. So let's come over here and bring it to the back a little bit, and just bring it up to right around the neck, but just right below the neck, so somewhere there. And this top ball over here, this one represents the head. So we can just bring it, come to the side, make sure it's roughly at the center, and basically that's that. And let's have a look over here. Those two lines over here, this represents the jaw, and this one represents the bottom part of the mouth. It's more or less like this. And this two represents the eyes. Let me just check whether I've got it selected correctly. Right, there you go. This one represents the eyes. So you can just bring this over here, so make sure it's roughly the right place. And this one over here represents where it's pointing towards the head. So just roughly around here should be fine. So now let's come back down over here and make sure we've set all this up right. Just put this circle, just pull this up a bit, and this one just pull it up a bit, and this one just pull it up just a bit more. Alright, so that's more or less fixed. Let's pull this up, and let's just make this bigger. Great. Okay, so now let's come back over here and just pull this up. Hit W, pull this up, so that's the knees, and this one would be the ankles. So hit F, it will bring you right straight to this. And looking at the side view, we know this one needs to be much further back, as that's where the ankles normally are. And for this one, it's sort of the middle of the shoes or the feet. And here we can just put it just right at the toe. So just drag this and just put this down like this. So more or less, this is it. More or less, we can just drag this. Just want to confirm on the side view, things are looking alright. So that's good. Alright, so now let's work on the hands. So the hands are mirrored as well. So let's select this, and you can bring this down. And let's say if you select this ball over here, you may just drag this down, and it would help to put this on an angle. Since we've created this on a sort of a arms are resting a bit downwards. If you're using a T-pose model, so having it straight should be fine. So let me just, in this case, I just need to turn this down. You will notice that the rest, we're not able to adjust this. It doesn't turn down as well, and as well, we can't make this come down. So everything has to be done from here on the angle over here. And here, we can take this down. So this represents roughly the shoulder or the upper arm area. So we can just we can bring this over here. We can bring this roughly around here like this. I can bring this down a bit. So it represents the upper arm, and this is the elbow area. So somewhere around here, and this one it's the wrist. So we can take this here, and we can't move this left or right. So we have to come back over here and sort of use this to rotate this. So this is about right for the wrist, more or less. Can come just a tad more. Alright, so that's good. Alright, so likewise, this is the joint at the wrist. Let's put this back a bit. So you see this is parent as well. So all this, it's all the different joints of that can be placed at their knuckles. So this one would most likely be over here. And this one is the center one, which will be placed over here. We can just hit F5 just to make sure that's correct. And for this one, we can't really move this one. We want to move this towards the sideways. The first thing we can do is just rotate this. Just let me check. We just need to bring this up as well. Okay. For this one, hands over here, need to bring this up as well. I think this middle one should bring this up as well. Great. Okay, so for this one, we can rotate this so that it comes over here. Okay, all right. So let's try putting this right over here, and this one can come in right over here. Right, so it's at the edge of this over here. So it's a bit tricky to see this in 3D because we need to put this at the right place. And so this one over here as well. So it's a bit slanted outwards. We can just realign this towards the center. Great. Okay, so let's bring this, hit W to bring that down over here. And this one we can bring this top over here, and this one over here like this. Great. And for this one, just quickly turn this over as well. Wait, why is it not turning? Alright, there you go. And bring this over. So this is good. And let's quickly select this and bring this down. And so we have this, and this is somewhat there as well. Bring this over. So basically this is somewhat done, because for this rigging we're just really keeping it simple, and this is mirrored on the left side as well, or the right side depending on how you're seeing it. It should be good. So we're keeping it really simple. As long as we are able to use this to pose our character in a very simple way, it doesn't have to be super complicated, then we're happy. So once we can double check, check everything is okay, and a side view everything works, from the back, from the top down, all should be good. Then we should be good to actually build the skeleton, and then we can skin and bind skin together with the mesh. So let's quickly build the skeleton, and because in this case it wasn't done in a T-pose, so I just need to click proxy pose instead, because it's the arms are coming down instead. So just click proxy pose. Oh, need to try it. Oops, sorry about that. Let's call this character rig. I had to do this because I used BOGO from my test earlier, so it's recognizing that. So let me just quickly build a skeleton, and there you go. So once you build it, it should look something similar to this. So we have this, and these are the joints that we can later attach and move it the mesh character. So let's unlock this, and to bind this to the character, let's select all, select all the skeleton over here, hold shift and select your character, and you come over here to rigging and go to skin and bind skin. There you go. And now, if I were to select this and move this, there you go. You hit 5, you see that it moves and changes your character as well. And it should work on everywhere else. And so so if I were to move the neck and the head, it would move up and down as well. All right, so just a quick one. Notice how when I move this up, this whole chest area moves up as well. So we would need to actually tell Maya to say that, all right, this joint only affects the head. It shouldn't affect the chest like this. It can move up just a bit, but not so much, not so drastic as this. It shouldn't distort the mesh like this. So in order to do that, that's called weight painting. Each joint is associated with certain parts of the mesh, and we can paint it, and I'll basically show you how to do that now as well. So for this one, I can just put it aside. Don't really need it much anymore, so you can leave this, or you can just close it as well if you're very sure you're not going to use it anymore. And so you can feel free to play around, like experiment more. It would be good at this point of time to really look at the joints and really understand which part is which, and how it fits, and how it's able to adjust the character and affect the character itself. And so it's really good to play around, so you can try that. If not, we'll jump straight into painting. And so we can do that over here, skin, and it's called paint skin weights. So let's click on the option box over here. It will bring this up, and we can select the individual joint or bone that we want to work on. Make sure you're looking at flat, it's easier to do so. And the good thing about this is whichever you're selecting, there are colors to help us correspond with different parts of the joint as well. So it's we can see what we're looking at. And so let's quickly, it does not recognize anything right now because we need to select the mesh. So let me just click this, so we're back at outside, and just select the mesh. And if you were to come back over here, the last used tool, which is the paint weights, now you see the whole area has been changed to this way. And you would notice that there's black and white. So black means unaffected. Oops, let me just quickly hit Q, drag this back over here. All right, so black means unaffected, and if I were to select right now on the jaw joint, A, oops, sorry about that again, just select the mesh, bring this back. All right, so jaw joint A, which is this one over here, it means that, white means this jaw, when it moves, all this mesh would be affected, and black means nothing is not affected by that. So it's a bit weird that why would the jaw be affecting all the way down here, right? So we need to make this black and paint everything else that it can affect white. But so learning by experience in class, we realized that it's better to just work on the head and the neck first before going into details like the jaw and the eyes and so on. So that's what exactly we will do. We'll start with the neck, and just to give it a bit of context as well, I'm just going to exit this paint weight. So this is the neck, and see, when I move this neck upwards, you see this whole thing goes around as well. So I just want to make sure that as the head is being tilted up, the neck is tilted up, only every part of the head is going up, but not anywhere else of the body. So we'll just use paint weights to really make sure we've got that going. So let me click back this. Let's start from the neck. So here are some of the tools that we can use to just paint on this. And firstly is the stroke over here. So we can look at the radius. So now this is 0.4. We can turn this to 0.2 if you want something smaller. So really depending on what you want to do at which point. And obviously it depends on the size of your model as well. So this is the neck over here we're selecting. And okay, so to paint on it, there are a couple of options. Most often we'll be looking at replace, add, or smooth. Let's try replace first. Replace basically means whatever you paint on will be replacing the value. So we see black and white, but Maya sees it as ones and zeros, between 0 to 1. So 1 means fully white, as you can see over here, and 0 means fully black. And we can also tweak the opacity to see how are we painting, basically value at 0, opacity at 1, basically means it's directly making it 0, which is making it full black, which is making it like not affecting it at all. So this is the neck we're talking about, so we can adjust this. Okay, let's really make sure it's like white on the main parts of the neck, or one ring around it. So that's making sure the influence is clear. Alright, so now for the head A, this is the part we want to cover up the whole head in white. Let's do that now. Alright, so this is the whole head over here, and right now what we want to do, we just want to just check. So neck is over here and head is over here. We can make the head come down just a tad more. So just make sure all grounds are being covered. All grounds have been covered. I'll just quickly check that. So neck, should be good. Neck should be good. Oops, there you go. Alright, so this is the head. And so over here, you can just, make the value 0 and just make sure this is 0, so it's not bothering any other part that it's not meant to. And okay, so that's some blacks over here. Let me just quickly make sure those are all, oops. So just make sure those are all white. Okay, great. Okay, so now let's have a look at jaw. You notice how this is meant to be the jaw, but it's touching up on stuff over here, which it shouldn't. So let's go to value 0, opacity 1, replace. Just paint out to make sure everything is just black. And how you can identify jaw A, it's, look at over here, whatever that is being selected, you see it selects out this whole thing over here. And so eyes are over here, jaw A. So it's these 3 balls over here. So it basically means this part of the jaw. And so jaw B, it's here and here, so it's here onwards. And jaw C is basically the lower lip. But you see all of them have influence over the upper chest, which we do not want. So now you see that everything just really comes back down in a nice, more natural shape. And jaw A, B, eyes, jaw, some parts over here, C, let's do some parts over here. Alright, so now for jaw C, because we want to make this joint over here be able to move the lower lips up and down, so we're just going to bump up the value, opacity, and just basically paint this in, so to give it influence over the lower lip, but just the lower lip. So it's very crucial that we just only make sure it reaches this part and not anywhere else. Alright, so now let's head back to BA of the jaw and just to really check that all these things are not affecting anywhere else. So that's that. Just clean it up. Basically, B, make sure it's not anything, and A, because we have used jaw C over here, so it's being taken over that place. Whoops. Yeah. So that's the influence of jaw C now, and neck is over here. Great. Alright, so now we just like to change the influence of the neck and so on a bit, and I'm just using the smooth tool over here to smoothen out these parts over here. So what it does, it helps to make the white a bit more gray and the black a bit lighter. So it's able to, we use this to be able to, oops, sorry about that. So we use this to sort of smoothen out the edges, so to help it to maintain a better topology in how it deforms your mesh. So now you see the neck feels much better. We can have a look back out here, and yes, so everything overall looks much better. We can now tilt the head, the neck, which is this one, and it only affects the neck. I think this is the head. So this is the neck. There you go. So we can now tilt this, and it only affects the neck nicely. And if we were to play around with the jaw over here, so it affects this part of the jaw. Okay, but it's not affecting the inner part of the jaw. So we just need to go back and paint this and make it affect a bit more of the jaw as well. So let's quickly select this mesh, go to the last use tool, let's go to jaw C, excuse me, and let's basically replace and just opacity high up, value up. Maybe we can lower down the opacity a bit. In this case, we can actually use add in a way. Add basically just means, let's say we set the value of 0.4. Basically, whatever we select, you will always just add value of 0.4 every time we click. So just adding. While replace, so it's impossible for add to actually make things black. So it's just seeing if you want to add something more white, adding more weight or influence. Alright, so let's have a look back over here, hit Q, back to selection mode, coming over here. So it looks, it is able to influence better. So bring this up, oops, let's bring this up. So there you go, so slightly better. You can play around with that. Okay, so now for the lower part of the body, the weightage seems to be pretty good. There's not much that we need to adjust, so I think that should be good. As you can see, it's not bad actually, so it should be good enough for your rigging. If you need to, then you may go ahead and adjust different parts of the leg if it's not deformed accordingly. Like, you know, when you move this, some other parts move together, then you will need to paint out whichever part you don't want it to influence in terms of the weightage. You know, we can definitely have a look. You know, select this, you know, come over to the weight. We just have to come over here and look for the character knee. Okay, so it's on the left side. So you see how for the knee over here, it's just really affecting this part and a bit of the top. So if you don't want it to affect that much around the pants over here, we can just go to value 0, opacity a bit higher, and just paint out. Oh wait, we're doing add now, replace. Yep, so it replaces, so it just makes everything full black. So when we move the knee, the pants wouldn't move, and so we can just keep it this way as well. If you'd like to do that, we can paint this out. So the knee really just affects the knee part. So you can feel free to play around with this more and explore different parts of the body. And let's try another example. And let's try this chest over here. I'm going to select this, and you know, as I move this forward, you notice that some parts follow, some parts don't. As it's very obvious that this middle part does not follow the chest as well at all. And you know, even as we bend it, you know, bring this down, you know, it's bending down. You know, many parts don't move, and what we want to do is just want to make sure this whole upper chest area follows and is being influenced by this joint over here, while everyone is following. And over this part needs to be changed by a little bit as well, so the influence is much more balanced. It's not so weird like this. So we can play around with that. Let's try that. And before I go ahead and try this, I'd like to bring to your attention real quick. So as you can see, what it really means is just really having a pose that you have in mind, and just really pushing your character to be able to pose closer, so you can use the joint to sort of try out the pose and see how it is able to distort or not, and then basically going to the weightage and selecting the right joints and then painting it so that the mesh would be able to deform according to what you want. And so another way of saying it, you can actually set the pose first, you know, set all the joints, the angles correctly first. Then you can come to the weightage to sort of paint it so that it can deform correctly. And sometimes if your pose might be too extreme and it's a bit hard to just really see, you can do it step by step. You know, adjust the head first, you know, then adjust the weight, and you come back to the arms and then adjust the weight. So we just did the head, so now we're gonna do the chest. So let's quickly do that, and let's select the mesh, and let's come to our last use tool is no longer that, so just skin, paint, skin weights, options. There we go. And I think this one would be spine mid, no, spine high. Okay, so one way of seeing it is, okay, you see this line over here, it's being selected. You see this is the line is being selected from here onwards, so it's here is being affected. High, it's this one, this part is being affected, and is the ball over here being selected. So that's the one we want to really affect. And you can see obviously this part is not being affected at all. So let's quickly just pump up the value, the opacity, and just really make sure the center entire front of the chest is being influenced and being pure white. So let's increase the radius as well. So it's easier to do that. So let's quickly paint this and just make sure all these parts. I wonder what this is. All right, there you go. Just paint this up white. So this one all comes up as well. And you can see how everything would basically just extrude out. So it follows this character, bending down. So the body would bend down as well. See how all this affects the entire body. And all right, so a bit of the shoulder as well, behind. So okay, so for the behind, we might not want it to be that much of an influence, so we can reduce the opacity, reduce a bit of the value, so that we can play it safer. Just sort of try and just sort of paint it and see how it looks like. So it's lots of try and error to sort of see which one gets the look that you're looking for. So just really trying this. So it's looking something similar to this. And here's when we can sort of add a gradient so that it's the form gets lower and lower. I mean, gets less influence and less influence, so it's a bit more natural. So we can do something like this. And lastly, we can use the smooth tool to basically smooth out the edges over here, something like this. So just ignore that. So you get something like this. So it's painted nicely. Let's come back over here. Let's select this over here, and now you can see that when we move this downwards more, it affects the entire front part of the chest now. So basically, it's just depending on your post, and you can play around and see how much you want to influence. In this case, we can make this influencing a bit more a gray area around here. So also it influences a part of the bottom of the stomach as well. So that could work. So it's about just playing. So play around the arms and see which part you want to influence and so on. And so you can play around more and see what you can come up with. So just keep the post simple so you didn't have to spend too much time on working on the weights. So let's try that. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or ask me, and we can work it out in class as well. So have fun doing this. Should be cool and interesting to see what you come up with your posts. All the best.